XRP reserves are coming. I'll put it bluntly, no one knows for sure right now, and that's a bit about the topic of manipulation, which could potentially skyrocket in the future. I have two personal favorites, Luke Trump and manipulation, or for all the newcomers. Welcome to the crypto cosmos. It's absolutely wild what went down this weekend. I'm going to give you an update on that now. What's happening now is basically like a worst case scenario, plus some XRP news. How should you behave in this situation? Is it all over? You can really see it a lot in the comments. I'm scared. Yes. And is now the time to buy more or to sell? At the very end, I'll also mention a few tokens to you that you should keep on your radar now, which may have already moved far out of reach until now. I would say let's dive right in. We'll see each other after the intro. A roller coaster of emotions. You can't describe it any other way. The XRP price dropped nearly 34% over the weekend because of these tariffs from Donald Trump. Now, of course, the big question is, since there was a recovery, is that it now? Or is there going to be a counter movement? And at this point, I'm not making any predictions. That's all I'll say about it. Because the news, and especially the manipulation, to be honest, I prefer to call them that, and I'll get to how I can justify that in a moment. No one can foresee that. So personally, I'm currently holding all my positions. Therefore, I'm waiting to see how things play out from the sidelines. Sometimes I invest in the market, and I'll get into that at the end of the video for that. But definitely with dollar cost averaging, so because no one knows. Stop. Is the price currently high, or is it going to drop a bit more? So if you have a different tactic, feel free to write about it in the comments. And first of all, a big thank you to you. In the last 28 days, almost 1,000 new community members have joined. So first of all, a warm welcome to all the newcomers. And if you're looking for a channel that delivers the most important crypto news daily based on facts, neutral, and without hype, then welcome. You can also become an uptrender. Just subscribe for free, activate the bell so you don't miss any important information. And if you really like the video and want to support my work a bit more, then feel free to give it a like. Let's leave it at that. Leave a comment. That really boosts the algorithm even more. But now let's continue right away. Yes, this manipulation that I'm talking about, you can see it clearly here again. It's going up and with significant jumps. So Bitcoin, I posted a short tweet about it yesterday. Last night it was just over 100,000, 2,000. Now we're back under the 100K mark. XRP is also kind of bouncing up and down. Ethereum doesn't really know what's going on either. But I can tell you right away, there are reasons why Bitcoin has recovered for now, or rather the entire stock market. And in my opinion, this is really manipulation, but also something about Ethereum. Ethereum is losing. I'll get to that too. And now we're talking about market manipulation on different levels. Because take a look at this. This is the CEO of Bybit. And he summarized the whole thing quite interestingly. He thinks that the total liquidation was significantly higher and that we're talking about at least $8 to $10 billion. If you take a look at this, at Bybit alone, that was $2.1 billion. It's just strange. Coinbase Glass just reported a total liquidation of $333 million. And he also has the reasoning for it here. It's just a lack of transparency. You can't call it anything else. The liquidation data from the different exchanges is deliberately limited. And that brings us directly to the next manipulation. And the big question is this manipulation or not? Because in the end, what really got the stock market going, that was the story about the tariffs that were imposed against Mexico, Canada, and China. And as quickly as it came, there was a complete misjudgment in the market. Because people thought, well, it'll just start on the 1st March or so, and Trump just casually stands up on a Saturday and says, no, from now on. Then suddenly there was more or less this realization from Trump, which initially led to a counter movement. And specifically for Mexican products, this whole thing is now supposed to be postponed for 30 days. Now you can ask the big question, who's next? So I've also heard about it. With Canada, there are supposed to be talks happening now. Well, I don't necessarily want to accuse him of a major manipulation right off the bat. Because one thing is for sure, the fact that he actually took action. And by basically starting this almost economic war, like a warning shot, the countries have become correspondingly active. Because, for example, in Mexico, the peso has lost almost 1%. And with that, the economy has also been thrown into turmoil. Now, the big question is if talks are happening with Mexico. In Canada, who would have guessed it? They definitely had a good time with crypto. The market that lost the most was also able to make the most gains. But why is he even doing that? And I can show you that here. In the end, there are various reasons. In the case of Mexico and Canada, and now Mexico has already given in and said, here over 100,000 officials. Do you want to position more at the borders? Because Trump, on the other hand, believes that these two countries are the main reason for it. That drugs and illegal immigrants are coming into the USA. So, if talks are also taking place with Canada now, then the whole topic might be altered. In China, it's a bit different. There are the trade balance deficits of the USA. Okay, we'll see whether the talks are taking place or not. Now, of course, the big question is, what are the consequences of the tariffs? That's definitely interesting again. Inflation in the USA is being increased because, of course, the Americans themselves have to bear the tariffs first. Or rather, first of all, the importers, they pass these prices on. Now, of course, you can ask yourself the question. Maybe many Americans will change their habits and say, well, then I'll just take a car from the USA or buy food only in the USA. That could then also fall victim to the German auto industry. But well, it feels like we have nothing left anyway. Just a little joke on the side, maybe that will change again someday. For example, in the case of Apple, which is mentioned here, where one says, okay, so 80% of the parts of the iPhone are made in China. But it's assumed that this won't make a big difference. Because effectively, the customers of Apple, they're used to paying more for every iPhone, iPad, and so on anyway. Now, that's enough about the general news. Let's move on to XRP. What's going on there? So, first of all, we see that we've fought our way out of a pretty significant correction. However, it's going down again, just like it was with Bitcoin. If you take a closer look at the 15-minute chart here, it's already the stock market. So we have our critical level here, and it didn't go much above that. So right at the 618 line, 3 rejections, then it went down significantly. At least that was slowed down again. Then another test, but it just went down here as well. And yes, as I said, folks, it's pure manipulation. I can show you that here as well. The positive thing about it is we can see here on the heat map with XRP, there's definitely a larger volume up here around the $3 mark. So one could already assume that the price will go back up accordingly. It makes perfect sense. There must have been quite a few short positions opened here. If we take a look at the whole thing with Bitcoin as well, it's really absolute fake. So as you can see here, it's all going down. The long positions are all being liquidated here. Beautifully picked up, absolutely beautiful. Here, everyone opened shorts and bam, in the same breath, it's beautifully picked up. Interesting, but that area wasn't touched anymore. That's the only thing. It went straight back down again. So yes, it's still a sideways movement. But folks, it's just blatant manipulation. But now there are still some XRP news, for example, the topic of clawback. I already touched on this briefly, and it could get interesting. I'm saying this for every DeFi favorite, they're about to have a panic attack. Absolutely clear. I also find it a bit questionable because this clawback update is supposed to benefit the DEX, the decentralized exchange of XRP. If we summarize this clawback topic a bit, we're talking about the fact that it basically means, as already translated, a reclamation. So that means if a transaction was carried out there now, that maybe shouldn't be the case or was just unintended. For whatever reason, then you could get them back. All right. So we haven't even learned in crypto. When I make a transaction, then the number is set. Now you can say something at this point, and I'm really curious about that, what you all have to say about that. So Apple isn't exactly known for decentralization, so feel free to write about it in the comments. On the other hand, you have to say, okay, if you want to bring new users into the market who might also use DeFi, is that really DeFi? What we all know about the topic, you are your own bank. Let's leave that aside. However, it could definitely be realistic for new users to enter the market, that it motivates some people more to use a Ripple ledger, for example. So, I personally see it as a double-edged sword. Now let's get right back to the topic. Now there are reports that he has these XRP reserves, which are supposed to come after all. For example, Jeremy Hogan made a statement here. Well, says Naja, it is quite conceivable that there will now be a broad diversification. So for those who remember, 2 days ago, I already talked about this. There was a report from, I have insider info, so the XRP reserves, they will never come. If you haven't seen the video yet, feel free to click in here. Anyway, honestly, folks, that's another point. I'll put it bluntly, no one knows right now, except maybe the leaders who might already be in the background, what they are planning. In the end, such reserves take quite a while, regardless of the asset still, a few years. And there are still quite a few regulatory issues that need to be clarified. But in the end, it's like a straw that many are clinging to in blind euphoria. Clamping, we don't know, and it can swing either way. So, are you aware that it's definitely not publicly known yet? I can guarantee that the people who know about it aren't allowed to talk about it publicly either. So let's just wait and see. I can definitely tell you. I'm pretty glad that 2 days ago I opened both an XRP SUI grid bot and an Ethereum grid bot. Now you might be wondering, yeah, okay, XRP is fine because I can show you that here he beautifully took the correction and then continued to rise. And here beautifully grids are triggered again and again. By the way, regarding the topic, I understand it a bit differently than hodling. With hodling, you're obviously trying to buy in at the best price down here. With a grid bot, that doesn't make sense because it first needs to drop, that the bot buys to then sell again during the rise. So, as I said, it's also important and it makes sense. I also got in before the correction. I took them with me, luckily with manageable leverage, so I wasn't liquidated. So that definitely happened. Again, many have been knocked out of the market. And of course, such ups and downs. Hey guys, this is worth its weight in gold right now. But the reason I'm saying that Ethereum could also be interesting is, so I'm getting to that now. By the way, before you ask yourself that question, how is that possible with the bots? Check out this live session where I explained in detail how to set up such bots. And alternatively, if you're saying, okay, I'm already familiar with this, I'm into it, then feel free to check the description. There's the sign up link for that. You're also supporting the growth of my channel, to be completely honest. I get a portion of the fees that you would otherwise pay entirely to BingX. So that's how you support me. Just a little further, so thank you very much to everyone who still uses the link, because now it's getting exciting again and the speculations are running. We're talking about an executive or a new one where there are senators again. Here, Loomis posted a tweet saying WIS is big, real, and the B stands for Bitcoin. Now the speculation is high, as there might be Bitcoin reserves and maybe other assets involved. And that's a lot about manipulation. So this is absolutely crazy. Eric Trump tweets, in my opinion, it's a great time to add Ethereum. You can thank me later. By the way, the last sentence, so you can thank me later. It was then removed afterwards. Huh? So that was the manipulation. But it's a bit too crazy because everyone is speculating so wildly right now. Yeah, what's going on with Ethereum? And why is Trump's DeFi project buying so much Ethereum? And especially, where is it all going? Because now it's actually interesting. On Coinbase, all the Ethereum was sent. So they're missing. And I also missed the Bitcoin here. Yeah, they might be sold off. Anyone who doesn't want to believe me, check out the past videos. We had a total volume of around 400 million here. That's shrunk a bit. Now it's down to 32 million. And that raises the question, okay, so not all the Ethereum is gone, but the value has definitely decreased. So I have no idea what they're planning. Others are talking about it now. Yeah, there could maybe be reserves or something at play. Yeah, okay, but why would the DeFi project send the Ethereum to Coinbase? The DeFi project has nothing to do with any state reserves. So it's a really curious situation. And I'll be honest with you, I don't get it right now, so I'm just going to wait and see. But that's such an obvious manipulation. Guys, am I the only one who finds this annoying? Yeah, but always everyone. To fight for these narratives that could really take off in the future, I have two personal favorites. And the first one is the real world assets. Because if you take a look at it, the volume has increased tremendously. And still, except for Larry Fink, who once said, yeah, stocks and bonds. And that would be great. And has made a call to the SEC. Hasn't there been much talk about that for now? Are we maybe seeing the next biggest narrative that we should keep an eye on? So, just a tiny little note here, because no one is talking about that anymore. Evercraft is also a tokenization project. And they said from the very beginning, we need more time. So that means the investors are feeling it now too. First, just a little bit of IM, drowsy sleep ahead. In the background, I know there's a lot happening with real, no investment advice at this point, but feel free to check out this project. It's about the tokenization of the company, which invests in sustainable technologies. I've already provided many updates about that. Some people have been hating on that. Yes, and is that really the case? And so on? I'm pretty sure that there are projects working a bit in the background right now. Those are the ones we suddenly see on the big screen. And say, yeah, if only we had done that back then. As I said, whether that happens with Evercraft, I have no idea. Who is interested in this more deeply? Feel free to click here. And now here for the final question. Yes, what should I do after such a correction? So if I'm not just frozen in shock or just thawing out again, what should I do about that? What to do now to pull something positive out of that? So basically, you know me, I'm more into small caps. However, the Larry caps have bled significantly. And now you might want to consider to maybe put in $1 or $2. Because there was indeed a significant pullback in the market. Because when you look at it completely, so for example, with Chainlink, we're currently in the tokenization area. As I said, I'm neither paid by the project nor anything like that, but I'm just passing this on to you. And if you take a look at this here, so we have the sideways movements. Absolutely. It would have been even smarter to get in there completely. However, this was already a huge setback. Another example, SUI. So everyone was shouting yes. So should I buy in at the top now, like something around $5? And then everyone wanted in. Now suddenly let's wait and see. That's exactly it. I'm approaching this problem counter-cyclically because the setback was immense. Next example, Cardano. I'm personally invested in that as well for a much longer time, but I've definitely felt its impact in my portfolio. And you can definitely say that was a stock exchange. So at the top, we were already at $1.27 here. So at the last peak, down here, and at the all-time high, it was a whole different story. So as I said, folks, things like this, I don't want to say that such an opportunity won't come again, because who knows what Trump will stir up tomorrow in some way. And then it lets go. But we all need to be aware of that. Those are the possibilities. Where we can actually make decisions and take action, and for example, Bitensor, especially when we go back to the AI sector, we can realistically imagine Bitenza has already gained market power there. What a blockchain means in the AI sector. Yeah, well, so now we already have a gain of 12% within a day, but still that thing has lost almost 35% over the month. So I want to remind everyone, that wasn't too long ago. We were over $700. Good question what it might look like at the top of a bull run, which I believe we haven't seen yet. It could look like, because there wasn't a bull run yet. So, as I said, those are the things where I say, yeah, there's definitely a lot of volume in there. But those pullbacks, they were really massive. They have shown how far the price can roughly fall now, and where the fundamentals are really present. That was a bit of a longer update again. I'm curious about your opinion. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a like, it really helps get the algorithm going. And otherwise, as I said, feel free to write down below. Let's exchange ideas. What's your opinion on XRP and the like? I can only give you the tip from what I've read. Also, feel free to check out yesterday's video. Even if some of the news isn't really news anymore, because it happens relatively quickly, there are still a few factors involved that can bring you €1 or two, and on the other hand, save one or another investment. So I would recommend it to you. Otherwise, we'll see each other tomorrow in the next video. Until then, all the best. Bye.